right, we are recording episode 6 of the Joey Tryon Show, and we're going to get straight into it today. We are here on location in Temecula, California, at one of the modern day daredevil of our society and our world, Robbie Maddison, sitting to my left. Sitting to his left is his friend, Preston Durnford. We'll get to him in a few, but Robbie's well known for doing all sorts of things. Like I said, he's got a world records under his belt. He's jumped football fields on motorcycles. He's jumped out of airplanes with parachutes now. He's surfed waves in Tahiti on a motorcycle. That's definitely a one-of-one accomplishment. And when he's not doing stuff like this, he's passionate about pretty much everything he does, which brings us here today. Little story, I was lucky enough when I worked at Red Bull to meet Robbie organically through working events. And being one of the biggest names that Red Bull sponsors, it was kind of a surprise to me how friendly he was and how giving of his time and just himself he is to his sponsors, his friends, his family. And that obviously today is having me here to do the podcast, which is really nice. Thanks, Robbie, for having me.
Always.
Which leads me to you, Robbie. You know, we've been chatting for a while and wanting to get this podcast lined up, and being the passionate person Robbie is, we spoke for a while thinking, how could we bring more value to this show? You know, we're not just here to talk about what Robbie's done on a motorcycle or his world records or his wonderful family or all of his accomplishments. We're actually here to talk about something else. That's where Preston comes in. Robbie and I have been chatting for a while, like I said, and Preston's a buddy of his who has a very, very, very epic cause. We'll use the word epic because it's called Epic Journey OC. And we're going to let Preston and Robbie talk about that here in a few. But that's what we're here to talk about today. But first, I want to welcome Robbie and Preston to the show. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stoked to be here, Joey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What you're doing, man.
Thank you, guys.
Joey Tryon Show.
Thanks for being here. So, Robbie, fill us in. Besides all the stuff I just mentioned, what have you been up to lately? I know skydiving has become one of your main passions, but what have you been up to? Fill us in.
Oh, where to start? Yeah, obviously, had a crazy career, and I'm so proud of it. But like everyone, you know, life goes in peaks and valleys, and for me, I'm kind of coming out of a valley, and you know, after a crazy career, 15 years of really being at the top and being super busy and all around the world, and I mean crazy travel schedule and just doing events all over the globe. I got to the point of being burnt out. You know, I had a couple of kids, well, 3 kids, and when Cruise came along, was really kind of I guess the start of like the downhill slide for me. I had viral meningitis when I was 16 and viral encephalitis, and then after having that I developed secondary impact syndrome. So at some of the last events that I did as a professional rider, I had some traumatic injuries where I actually died on the course, and it happened 4 times where I had a head injury and my heart stopped and had to jump start my heart and put me in life support. And after the last time it happened, I lost my memory. I couldn't really put life together, and it really scattered me and put me into a crazy depression and mental fog that you know, it was making me contemplate some silly ideas of not wanting to continue on, and so I went through that dark period. And then right when that was hitting, you know, it seemed like life was just kicking my ass. We lost Amy's mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, Amy's mum. You know, my parents divorced, and some just crazy stuff happened that really put me into a dark place. And then you know, as you do, you kind of get depressed. You kind of turn to other things that kind of like make it even worse. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, man, I need to turn my life around. You know, I'm just in front of my kids, like not even stoked, and I've done all this great stuff. And luckily I was able to kind of draw some positives and motivate myself to want to be better. And
Right.
And so just luckily, like, I kind of prayed that God would show me the way and help me through this dark time. And next minute I got a phone call from the amazing team at Red Bull, who's always given me wings, and there's an opportunity there to work on a new project that involves skydiving and get my pilot's license, and something that I'd always wanted to do. So I said, like, yeah, let's do it. The skydiving thing scares me. I'm like, I wanted to do it when I was younger, but I kind of like took on Amy's fears about it and just having a family and not wanting to like, not wanting to jeopardize, not being around for my kids. I kind of decided that was, in the too gnarly range and it was too dangerous. But with this opportunity, Amy kind of supported me. She's like, hey, you need something in your life right now, and you wanted to skydive before. I think you should do this. And I was thinking, what the hell? Like, you were the one that told me not to do it and made me adopt your fear that it was too dangerous. So, with her blessing, she's like, go for it. So, started skydiving, doing my pilot's license right now, and it's been the most transformation thing that I've ever done. Like, facing those fears of getting out of the plane, I was okay with it when I was younger, and then I got to the point where I was totally fearful. And when I went out of the plane the first time and pulled my own chute, I came home, I was white as a ghost, I was shaking, and it was just a crazy experience. But now I have faith in the equipment, I understand the sport. It is relatively safe, but you have to have your wits about you. You can't be acting the fool out there, so it's tough for me. But I've met some amazing people, and that's where I met Preston down on the drop zone, and met some amazing people already in the sport. I've only been part of the skydiving community for 6 months now, and everyone down there has a story to tell. They've all been through some crazy stuff, and it's actually filled with very amazing people who are at the top of their fields, that have all been through their own life experiences, and the skydiving community is very amazing people down there. So Preston's one of them. We started talking. He was telling me about his epic journey that he's doing, and I see him down there on the drop zone, busy, taking phone calls, jumping out of the plane, back on the ground, hustling. I'm thinking, what is this guy up to,
Right.
And I was kind of pulling myself out of a dark place, so I wasn't really on the phone at that point, but he's motivated me to be the best version of myself, and just been a huge support to me. And he probably doesn't even know it, but just sitting next to this guy on the plane and catching his vibe and flying next to him, hundreds of miles an hour down on his slope with his beautiful partner Emma and all the crew down there. I mean, we all jump out together and literally fly this close to each other, hundreds of miles an hour, and it's just badass to get on the ground and then to talk about business opportunities and how we can help people, and that energy you feel and that you share when you're falling like that, and falling, same thing. But yeah, it's just a crazy thing. So we met down there, and Preston's like, hey man, I'm doing this epic journey stuff, and he started telling me about, I don't want to wreck his story, but he started telling me about what he's up to, and I was like, I want to be a part of this with you. So
that's awesome.
Here we are.
And like you said, skydiving scared you at first, and you're the guy who took a motorcycle in the ocean and surfed one of the gnarliest waves in the world. So that puts, I'm scared to skydive, but I'd love to do it someday.
And the fear of skydiving was not really the thought of it. It was just like something that was deep inside of me. And when I went through it, I literally was shaking and I was white as a ghost. And now that it's evolved, I wouldn't say I'm getting like used to it, but it's the most, just getting rid of that barrier of the fear side of things. It's like the biggest weight gets lifted off your shoulders. Like, you're living life again. You're not, you haven't got this thing that you're scared of holding you back, and it's
right.
like you can use that energy with anything you go for. And so, like, you want to try a new business opportunity, or you want to try and better yourself in any way. Hitting the gym is like, nothing's an excuse now.
Right.
It's cool.
You face that, you can pretty much face anything.
Exactly.
Which leads us to Preston. Unfortunately, Preston and I are in a fraternity of many members. We've both lost a sibling. Two unrelated incidents, but also similar, both tragic, both before they should have happened. I'll let Preston touch on how he got into his journey of starting the epic journey, how his and Robbie's relationship has grown organically through the skydiving world, and just give us a little bit of background of how you got to where you are right now.
I guess a little bit where I came from, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So I grew up on like Lake Havasu and Coachella Valley, up by Palm Springs area, and I grew up in a kind of it was kind of rough. I lived in a nice area, but I was kind of gravitated more towards like the gang members and doing time and from just people that were just more chaotic. And my brother has always kind of been my hero, and I didn't really have too many people to look up to, and following his footsteps from he took me, I don't say he took me, but I followed him into addiction. You know, he was doing oxys, you know, and I started doing oxys with him. Then one day we're out there in Lake Havasu, he comes out of the room, and I see him bleeding from his arm, and he was super loaded, and I don't, you know, so for some reason I was upset with him, but then I was like, well, I want to do it. Well, then I got into shooting heroin, and that led me through a lot of heavy experiences, kind of being affiliated with that old world and doing time and being homeless and overdoses, and I mean, I've just had so many heavy experiences, from car accidents and being drive-bys. Just actually talking to a buddy, and I really don't go back to that way of life too often, you know, because I'm here doing an interview with, like, you know, incredible people, you know what I mean? Like, my life has completely changed, but, you know, I was talking to my buddy yesterday, we were running on the beach down in Newport, and he's, like, kind of asking me about my past, and, you know, I've been in such heavy accidents from being, you know, on stuff for days at a time, falling asleep, and the people I surrounded myself was, you know, they were always into something, man, and that got us, you know, from being shot at to held on the ground with guns in our head for whatever we had, you know. And when actually it brought up, you know, yesterday, and it kind of put me back in my old way of life, and, you know, I went through all that, and, you know, my brother, we used for 8 years, and we did all that stuff that comes with it, and in the moment, you know, he got his life together, and he got sober 2 years before me, and I started seeing these pictures. He's all in good shape, and he had the girls, and, you know, the energy, you know, he was just like this big energy. You wanted to be around him. He had that, like, that drive, and he was just, people gravitated towards him, and, you know, he'd call me P. Like, P, are you ready to get off that? I'm like, no, man, I'm still out here doing my thing. And all right, he'd always check on me. And he ended up working at a treatment facility up in Lake Arrowhead. Wow. And after he called me more and more, and, you know, I actually, you know, I fell asleep. This is the last day before I got sober. I fell asleep out front of my dad's house, like, out front, like, on the horn, with all my milkshake all over the place. And Officer Santiago, the guy that's always busted me, and calls me, hey, Dad, you know, Preston's out here, or hey, Tim, Preston's out here falling asleep in his truck. He's like, what the hell? Comes out and told the cop, hey, look, you can either take him in again, or I'll put him in detox. And, you know, I didn't have insurance, and so a place scholarship me. And, you know, a guy, you know, my brother got me up there into the facility, and I saw him up there and how he interacted with the clients, and doing all the softball and volleyball, and just, he was getting people excited about living life here. Right. Like, our time is so temporary, as you know. People go and things happen, but he was getting people, he was helping people's lives. Instead of going that way, he helped them and they went that way. Right. And I almost got addicted to that. I get addicted to seeing people happy. Like, you get to alter their path here. Yep. Based on you motivating them. Like, hey, like, do this. Because it feels great. It's awesome. Look what happens. And so I saw how he did that, and, you know, I had a buddy, his name is Brandon Stone. He owns a place called the Ohio House out in Newport, or Costa Mesa. And I didn't have any insurance, and he let me stay at a sober living, and, you know, gave me a job and whatever, but he really allowed me to kind of get my life together. And so, you know, my brother and I started a company. We started a detox, and we saved money with this marketing company we had, and we started a detox, and then just started helping people. And you know, we really pulled some stuff off, because I came up in Orange County when I came down from Lake Arrowhead from treatment in a mountain bike with track marks all over me from shooting dope. Yeah. Just this mess of a kid that didn't know who the heck he was. And you know, what happened with my brother, you know, we started doing really well, and he lost track, man. He was such an extremist. He was such, like, this badass dude, like Robbie always, you know. I feel like I lost one and gained another. It's super strange how this works. Life works like universe is super strange, man. And it starts to get super defined, and the moment I'm kind of tapped in, I start seeing these signs, and something spooky's happening right now, man. I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? How do I make sure I'm doing the best I can, because amazing things are happening. But, you know, with Dustin, my brother, he was extremist, man. He started drinking a little bit, and, you know, this fentanyl stuff's out there, and it's so freaking strong, you know, and it's in everything, you know. It's in cocaine now. It's in Xanax, like fake stamped pills, fake oxys and roxys. They're finding it in meth. Like, you don't even want that in your meth. Like, you want to be up and at it. You know, they're testing it out in Orange County where they're finding fentanyl in their meth. So, you know, it's crazy. And so, you know, him, you know, the last time I saw him, we would always play volleyball with our clients every Wednesday and in the evening. And so the last time I saw my brother, that's why all this shit's getting spooky, man. Because we're sitting there, and I was like, Dust, I heard you're drinking and you're using again, man. Like, you can't drink. Like, I get it, you know, if you want to, you know, eventually you'll get your life together, you want to have a drink, whatever. But he was this super extremist, and, you know, I was like, Dust, look, man, like, you're that guy. You're that guy that dies. You're that guy. You know, I've had my brother overdose, and I've carried him in emergency rooms, like, help, you know, and so I've watched him do it. I've saved his life multiple times. We've been in some heavy situations where we shouldn't be here. But, you know, I told him, I was like, Dust, I was like, you're that guy. And I was like, he said, P, you know, I just want to have a glass of wine. And I was like, all right, dude, you know, maybe do your thing. And then my fiance and I were going to go up to Mammoth and go and fish in Bridgeport and camp and just kind of tune out and tune in. And, you know, my brother, I looked at him, I was like, hey, man, I'm like, I love you. And he gave me this little hug, like a little pat. I was like, no. I gave him this big hug and smacked him on his butt cheeks. And, you know, I was like, I love you, man. And, you know, and as I'm backing out from the last time I saw him, he's like, P, roll on your window. And I look over at him, and he gives me, like, this super, like, long stare. And he's like, hey, I love you, man. And I was like, I love you too, man. And I backed away, and it was so strange. And yeah, I mean, you know, the way I changed my life, you know, I got into high endurance. You know, I've ran hundreds of miles. I've gone out in the middle of the ocean at night by myself just to, like, push myself. You know, got into jumping 4 years ago. I've kind of, you know, with moto, I've watched the guys that he rides with, and I didn't know anyone that really rode, and I've gone pretty, you know, big solo by myself. I just always kind of push my limits. And, you know, through that, it's just kind of, it's just changed the way I do things. And, you know, so yeah, I mean, my brother, he did a fake Roxy, and he did a bump of it, and, you know, a little sniff or whatever, that's what a bump is, but, and he fell asleep in his truck, you know, and I'm calling him, I felt him leave. I felt this, I didn't even know yet, and I was just so emotional, but, you know, after that happened, you know, through like how I totally rewired myself, because I wanted to be like my brother, but I outgrew him. I was like, I got so much more here, man. Like, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm here with you. I'm like, no, I'm going. I got big dreams, and you know, my brother ended up passing, and that was the, you know, because before that, you know, which I haven't mentioned, my dad hung himself, you know, a few years before my brother, and so my dad hung himself, my brother overdosed, and we're all like best buds, you know,
that's
and
extremely heavy and lumped together. So
so you know, after I got through all that, I started I stepped away from the treatment industry to take care of myself, and I started, you know, I was like, maybe action sports. I've been good at everything I've kind of put my mind to, you know, and maybe I do this. And I still gravitated towards helping people. I just couldn't, you know, I stepped away, and I got back, and I was sitting in Huntington Beach, and I came up with this idea for Epic Journey on the back of a receipt. This lady's walking by, I was with Emma over here, my fiance, and this lady walks by with the receipt in the paper, and I was like, excuse me, can I grab that? She's like, what? I was like, let me see. And I'm writing down something on the receipt. I'm like, a hot air balloon, military plane, all the off-road toys, and a big meditation to, like, counteract this, or balance all of it out, because you can't just be go. Like, we do gnarly stuff, but you're like, you can't even sit, you know, like, I gotta do the next gnarly thing. I gotta go.
if you don't have the downtime to like counteract the high time, then you just like it gets toxic.
Yeah.
I know firsthand.
Becomes your new addiction.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep pushing it, and then the moment you learn to like breathe and relax,
Yeah.
and you combine those both like with holistic approaches, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the balance, you know.
For
And
sure.
so I started the company Epic Journey based on something, whatever. Like I say, things are getting spooky.
Yeah.
But something told me, and we pulled them off, and we've taken, you know, over the course before, like we've taken hundreds of people out in these big groups to go and jump out of airplanes, right? I mean,
Yeah, so touch on that a little bit. It's called Epic Journey OC.
Yeah.
You can find them on Instagram, Epic Journey OC, and they have a website, epicjourneyoc.com, correct? Or
epicjourneyinc.com.
epicjourneyinc.com. And like you were just getting into, tell us about what you do to help people stay sober, stay mentally clear, how you reward people for, I'm guessing it's 90 days of sobriety or a benchmark.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, I mean, I don't want to make it directly towards sobriety.
Right.
I want to show people a healthy way of living. You know, if you want to puff or this or that, but learn to have fun without anything.
Right.
Learn to have fun, just be in the moment. You don't need to go and burn one. You don't need to go have a drink to have fun. Like, you can go out and live an amazing life. You don't even think about having any of that. So I want to incorporate, you know, I started they're 2-day events. We go out to Skydive Elsinore, and they have a military plane like you see in Call of Duty. You run out the back of.
That's
They're
crazy.
insane, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's the sky van.
Yeah, Sky. You know, they're fun, man, and we'll have, you know, a whole bunch of people out there, and what we'll do is we'll start like, you know, the first one we did like 66 people, right?
Yeah.
The one you're at.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep, and
That means Preston got 66 free jumps out of that.
yeah.
Every time you take a person to like tandem, you get a free jump when you're licensed.
nice.
So
I've never
Building up some credit.
never paid for a jump. Like
Yeah.
over 300 jumps.
See?
professional skydiver.
And that's-
I don't have to pay for it, yeah.
And
That's
isn't
the
that
win-win.
something funny that you did it to help other people, and you obviously didn't get into it, oh, I want to make money, but the profit is immeasurable. You get free jumps now. Like,
Yeah.
For helping people, you get to do something you love for free. So
Yeah.
it's just like,
That's
when you
just
put
like
good out there, good
that's
comes
just like
back.
a sugar on the
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever, the icing on the cake, because that's not why he does it for us.
It just comes right back to you.
Yeah,
When you
that's
put
right.
good out there, it comes back, which is epic.
Yeah. We'll start the events, and we'll all, like, you know, the first one we did when Robbie came, we did like 66 tandems, and plus their families, you know. So we have this whole, and the energy there is crazy, right?
Mhm.
Everyone's about to jump out of the plane. Before you do your first skydive,
A bunch of sober people just vibing on
Yeah,
live, just having a
vibing.
great time. It's freaking awesome.
So much coffee and
Yeah,
Red Bull.
yeah.
Well,
You
it's
know-
just the laughter, the good times. Like
Yeah.
people are actually like just experiencing like the smiles and the energy's up, and people are coming down from the jump, and it's like first experience, and they're just buzzing on life, and
Yeah.
it's like it's great.
It's contagious.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
when you're
it is.
around
It looks
that,
incredible.
like, that's what I notice is like when you're around someone that is like living life, and they're the healthy lifestyle, and they're dreaming, they're in that. You want to be next to that,
Yeah.
right? You want to be like, oh, this guy's killing. I don't know, whatever
All
about
the energy.
Yeah,
contagious.
whatever Joey's got
Yeah.
on, I want to be around Joey because Joey's freaking got it, man. And so, you know, it's cool. So I kind of wanted to put that on. I wanted to pump out some good vibrations, man, and kind of be the antenna for it and just send them out. Because something weird happens when you do that. It comes
Yeah.
right back.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? And so what we'll do after we jump, we have all the Polaris razors. We got a few of those, and so we go out to Aqua Wells, where I kind of grew up riding by pole line out there. And we like jumping out of hot air balloons, so we'll put a hot air balloon up at night, you know, on a tether, and we got, you know, the fire, people dancing. We bring out like a trailer. They're like air conditioned bathrooms with stalls, and, you know, Carl over at Skydive Elsinore, you know, lets us bring those out. So we got food, and we have this hot air balloon on a tether that's just at night.
That's
This
so cool.
giant light bulb is going on. People, no one's drinking, no one's doing anything. Granted, all these people have done some serious stuff,
Yeah.
but everyone is having a good time without anything. And so, you know, it's an amazing thing to see what's possible, like riding for it from on receipt to like sitting on the
Absolutely.
hillside, like, oh wow, there's something to this, you know. And so what we'll do in the morning after we're all ripping around the toys all night, we'll do a big guided meditation. And so one of the coaches down at Elsinore, her name's Lucci, she does, you know, we'll have 50 people sitting there, man, everyone sitting in silence for sunrise, you know, to counteract all the insane, it's like this fear bonding, and then we all just sit, and we do a whole flow, and that's how we kind of end it. We kind of just end with a big meditation, and we rip around the toys a little bit more, and forever bonded with those groups.
And I'm guessing people you've brought out to these events, it obviously changes their life, but now they're part of your life, and you have a big extended family.
Yeah.
Like Robbie has fans and people that he might have met 15, 20 years ago at an event, and they'll come up to him the next time they see him, hey man, remember that one time? So you've got that rapport now and that community of people, which has got to be powerful.
Soldiers.
Like you said, you might have lost a brother, I lost a brother, but over time you gain many more brothers and sisters when you put the good out there, and it's awesome, man. I got to give it to you for doing that. It's incredible. We were talking about fentanyl, and that obviously is a horrible, I would call it a gnarlier epidemic than what's going on in the world, or pandemic, sorry. And it's obviously the cause of what took your brother. But we all might know someone who's passed from that. I know I have a few people from high school that passed away, and it might not even have came out that was the cause, but later on we've found out that it was. And the point of that being that it's no one's talking about it. And you guys are. And so your last event you did was to raise awareness for fentanyl-related deaths and or preventing fentanyl-related incidents. So why don't you tell us about how that went, the most recent event out at Elsinore?
I mean, Robbie was a huge, you know, to make a dent, you need someone that, you know, it's hard for people to know, you know, and fortunately he has a great following and, you know, a good heart. So I mean, you know, how everything lined up, and for Robbie being able to be willing to do so, I mean, he was huge, man, and the motivation of him wanting to do it, and just, I mean, the people that, you know, he's just an inspirational person that kind of put it on, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at some statistics, and it's they're saying it's, and by they, the CDC, that fentanyl-related accidental overdoses, what we're talking about. So somebody recreationally doing drugs or sniffing some blow or whatever it is they do, and they die in their sleep, or they die from it. And it's happening to people between the ages of 25 and 50 in the United States. It's killing more people than car accidents, heart attacks, gun-related shootings, all that stuff. So it's huge, and the media is not talking about it for whatever reason that may be. Maybe we don't even need to get into that, but the fact that someone like Robbie met you guys are teaming up, spreading awareness, it's huge, because like I said, 25 to 50 year olds are the demographic of people who watch what Robbie and his buddies are out here doing on Instagram every day. I know I'm 34, and that's my demographic, and I've lost friends, you've lost friends, you lost a family member. So obviously you guys are the target demographic to spread the message. And so tell me a little bit about that. As far as the last event went, Robbie, what did you get out of it? How did you feel?
Well, circling back to like what I was talking about earlier, when I met Preston and seen his vibe at the drop zone and him hustling on the calls and taking meetings with the owner of Skydive Elsinore, and he's like, yeah, putting on this event, and I kind of sat back and watched his first event. It was super infectious, a lot of people there, great outcome. And so when he did the next one, I was already tuned into what he was doing, and when I started kind of like, you know, becoming better friends with Preston, asking more, you know, in tune questions with what he was doing, realized that, you know, he's doing this stuff with fentanyl awareness, and I realized some of the people really close to me have lost brothers and siblings, and I've lost a lot of good friends to it. So I'm like, dude, I need to be involved in this for sure. Like, I'm all about doing something for the right reasons. You know, I'm finding my path again, and so I was like, for sure, let's get involved and you know, help spread the word, and did a bunch of posts on social media, and realized all these people in my, you know, following were like coming out, oh, you know, I lost my brother, I lost my sister. So they're like, I'm coming. Next minute we have like, you know, 30, 40 people that are like organically just coming, you know, because they know someone, or it's a direct family member. And one of my really good friends, Frankie Garcia, he lost his brother Jess, and to the same thing. And similar issue, you know, like they'd been kind of, you know, dealing with drugs and had already done rehab and then was like kind of clean again, and then probably, you know, drinking like his, you know, gateway to all the mess, and you know, have a night drinking, next minute using again and get a bad batch and fentanyl's in there dead.
Yeah.
You know, so they just died in his bedroom at home. It's crazy, not like you know, thinking that he's out, you know, doing crazy stuff. It's just in the house, and a lot of people die in the house in their rooms. So it's something that I'm like all about. So we're raising awareness for that, and it was just a magical event. And then
shout out to Frankie, he's awesome. By the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've known Frankie for quite a while too, and I was pretty close with his brother, and that rocked me to say the least. When I got the news that Jess had passed away, it felt like losing another extended brother, so to speak. And I know you've been close with Frankie, and to see you be there for Frankie and to raise awareness about the cause, I know that's helping his family heal.
It's just, I mean, I'm just stoked that I can like bring someone in like Frankie, who is still struggling with the loss of his brother, and we do this event. We go down there, he meets Preston. We do this awareness stuff. You know, Frankie can start comfortably talking about, you know, what happened with Jess, and then next minute he jumps out of a plane and lands and goes, "That's exactly what I've been looking for, needing in my life," you know. And he's like, "I'm skydiving now." So it's
so happy for him.
It's just infectious. Like, you know, people kind of I think you know, categorize skydiving. I mean, I used to do it. I used to drive past the drop zone on Elsinore motocross track and think, man, it looks like a bunch of scary weirdos in there, and now I'm one of them. So it's cool. It's and it's not, you know, once you put the, you know, the stigmatism away aside of it, and you actually see what's going on there, it's a very calculated sport, and the statistics are super low. You always hear the scary, you know, things, but there's always a reason why those things happen, and it's the Lake Elsinore, they have one of the best like safety records on in a drop zone. So I mean, there's a lot of like knowledge to gain down there, and there's a lot of lessons to learn on how to do, you know, do stuff safely. But it's just great, you know, to share it with this guy and to do badass stuff is just, I'm just so blessed that we're on this path together and we're doing great stuff and creating awareness and showing people that you can live a great life.
That's awesome. And for those of you who are just listening, not watching, we're at Robbie's house, and all of the freestyle motocross legends are starting to show up because they're about the session when we're done with this. So if you hear trucks pulling up, it's just probably one of your favorite riders. So.
Vicky Golden's here.
It looks like Vicky
the
Golden
number one
just pulled
freestyle motocross rider in the world, woman. She's here and she's badass.
Yeah, regardless of the gender, she is one of the best.
She puts us to shame sometimes. Like, damn it.
So, yeah, like we were saying,
girls.
the Skydive Elsinore team has been huge for your efforts with the Epic Journey. Why don't you talk about just, well, actually, I wanted to ask you, you guys already covered it. How many people showed up? What the event was like? How can someone get involved with the next one, the next event you're going to do? Just follow you on social media and keep up, or how do they get involved with the Epic Journey? Whether they are struggling themselves, or maybe they want to help someone who's struggling.
I mean, I think, you know, it's people that are motivated. One, if they want help, you know, if they want to come be a part of it and live kind of this way of life, you know, we're, you know. I think anyone through Instagram, you know, reach out. I mean, I'm not this rock star, you know what I mean? I never will be.
Looks like it,
but you say you look like a rock star.
But I will always stay humble, man. And you know, anyone that wants to come be a part of it, they're more than welcome. You know.
Yeah.
I think the more good vibes that we can kind of spread throughout all this chaos, I think. I would love to help more.
Reach out to me too. Like, you know, if anyone's like struggling, it's just like a matter of DM. I try to go through them all, and I end up seeing them all and getting back to people. And if you reach out and say, hey, I need help, I need to talk, or whatever, it's like, say it, man. I'm not some we're just normal people that want to help out. So we've all been through it. I mean, I know that sometimes you don't want to talk about it, sometimes you don't want to address it, but when you're ready and when you're comfortable, like, your family needs you, you're a great person, your friends need you, so be the best version of yourself. Come hang out with us, and you know, we're not saying that any of us are better than one, but there's, you know, we're all at different stages, and so you can pick up the vibe from each other and just move together in a movement, and together we can all help this spread.
Yeah, and like you were saying about our friend Frankie, who lost his brother, you know, after someone goes through something tough in their life, whether you are trying to get sober, whether you are experiencing a loss, whether you're just trying to get out of a funk, sometimes it takes a while to either put yourself out there or even admit that you need the help. So someone like Preston or someone like Robbie if you don't know them, you can reach out to them. It's almost like it's almost easier to do sometimes to reach out to a stranger, because there is that no judgment zone. You're not reaching out to your brother, sister, mom, dad, friend who's going to gossip maybe, or the fear of that. It's all confidential. It's all, you know, camaraderie. So I feel like that's a huge,
come hang
huge
out
deal
with
too.
us, catch the vibe, you know, like come ride in the hot air balloon, and we'll just jump out and you can stay in, you know, but just see.
And
like,
eventually you'll jump out.
I'd probably stay in. You have to throw me out.
Come in the plane and we'll jump out of the plane. You can do the ride along and go down. I mean, there's ways to be involved if you know and if you don't want to like jump out of the plane and that sounds crazy, like still just come down and hang out, you know, like there's no pushing, there's no judgment, there's no pressure to be gnarly, but it's about living out of your comfort zones, and it's realizing what you're capable of as a human being. And even like I think one of the gnarliest challenges for people is the end step of the epic journey is just the meditation, sitting in silence. It's like it's so key for everyone, and I do it, and you know, a lot of the people who are successful in life do this, and you know, being able to sit there and turn your mind off and not let thoughts control you is very empowering, because the stiller the mind gets, the more control you have of your direction, your path, your thoughts, and that's where the power is. You know, it's like if you're letting your friends persuade you, and you're easily persuaded because you don't actually have your own path set and you're not in tune with that, then it's easy to bounce around and get influenced by bad people. But if you have your path set through meditation and having quiet and knowing your path and what you want to do, then when these opportunities come in to stray you from your path, you're like, you know what, I'm good. You know, you don't have to be the preacher, or you don't have to be like almighty, I'm better, or whatever. It's just like, no, I'm good. You know, if that's what you want to do, you do that. I'll do me, and it's healing and it's powerful, and
like it's good over here. Like I've already checked that out. Something good's happening over here, and I think the big thing too is why I like taking people out in nature. You know, like as soon as like our weather's changing, like I love surfing, I love the ocean, I love free diving, I love all that. Got some more gnarly dudes pulling up probably.
Yeah, bikes pulling up.
We're all gonna get parked in here. I need Vicky to move on the grass.
You know, I think going out, getting into nature and breathing, and doing it solo is really, really, you know, heavy. And I think seeing police, you know, going out as soon as like, all right, so what to look forward to? I think we're going to incorporate a lot of stuff with the ocean, you know, and to incorporate just it's very amazing place, like Highway 395, and like soon all the snow melts at rivers, right? Isn't it amazing?
My favorite place on earth.
It's amazing.
The stretch between whenever the small cities start, Lone Pine, Independence,
to
June
Alabama
Lake,
Hills.
Alabama Hills.
Yep.
That's life-changing out there.
It is. And so to incorporate, so what we want to do, but this COVID thing happened, yada, but I was going to rent a whole bunch of RVs, you know, like, have you seen Meet the Fockers?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to cruise one of those bad dogs up. Like, have you ever driven one? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Just hold the bottom.
Like, I seen Robbie doing his driving. He'll pull it off.
I'm the best driver around. It's a story.
You know, and so I wanted to, you know, we'll start the day out by, say, for instance, the Alabama Hill ones that got canceled. You know, we'll start out skydiving, but I want to go and put a hot air balloon up out there and float over the Sierras. You know, like you have White Mountains and the Sierras, putting a balloon up right in the middle, man. Just land right in Owen's Lake.
That'd be amazing.
So,
I'm coming. That sounds great.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
So hopefully some of these people come into.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you, was what's next for you guys. So pretty much you're trying to figure out new stuff to do, incorporate the ocean, not just do stuff jumping out of planes, but pretty much anything in nature that can help people pretty much reconnect with themselves.
Yeah.
Sounds about
Yeah, follow us on socials, and when it comes up, we'll promote it.
I think anyone has any cool
ideas.
Yeah.
We're welcome to all of it, right?
Yeah. So follow Epic Journey OC on Instagram. Check out their website, Epic Journey
OC.
Epic Journey OC.
Instagram.
Is the
and
Instagram.
The website's Epic Journey Inc.
There you go.
Yeah.
And obviously give Robbie a follow on Instagram, Robbie Maddison, and the host of this Instagram is
P. Dern.
The Madhouse, right? Madhouse
Yeah,
Co.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. So I wanted to wrap up just on a personal note. I mean, Preston and I have lost a brother. You've lost many friends or brothers over the years. And like you said, the universe works in strange ways.
Yeah.
I lost my brother back in 2003. And I had the weird job of clearing out his room, you know, like stuff that I was 2 years younger, and my dad, being my dad, said, hey, you might want to go through his stuff before mom does. You never know what we're going to find in there, type of deal. But one of the posters I had to take off the wall eventually was a Robbie Maddison poster from like a Trans World shoot from like Krusty from back in the day.
Wow.
And I'm in your yard doing a podcast with you and Preston. So it's just like
Yeah.
the world works in mysterious ways. And I just want to say to anyone out there who's ever thought about trying something new or has a passion and you're sitting on it or letting, like Robbie said, someone else's voice or your own voice in your head hold you back, knock that shit off and go for it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
look where it could take you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look where Preston's at. Look at the stuff Robbie's done in his life. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, if you're in a dark place, just know that it's not going to be permanent. You know, after the dark place, the sun shines again. So just harness that and know that if you're stuck in the darkness, start reaching out and the sun will peek its head and it'll be good.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, I
Thank
just
you,
want to say
brother.
thank you so
Thank you
much
for having
for
us.
being here.
Pleasure, Joey.
I love it.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank
Episode
you.
6 of the Joey Tryon Show. Thanks a lot.
Oh.